The proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus and his disciples set out for the villages of Caesarea Philippi. Along the way, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" They said in reply, "John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others one of the prophets." And he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter said to him in reply, "You are the Christ." Then he warned them not to tell anyone about him. He began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and rise after 3 days. He spoke this openly. Then Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. At this he turned around and, looking at his disciples, rebuked Peter and said, "Get behind me, Satan. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." He summoned the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and that of the gospel will save it." The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel for this Sunday is taken from St. Mark. We are reflecting on faith, professed and lived. In the first reading, the example of the suffering servant of the Lord is given to us. This person is able to withstand afflictions, suffering, because of faith. Faith is not just notional, it's not just intellectual, but it is professed in life. Because of the servant's faith in God, this servant could witness to peace, perseverance, and patience. Faith underlies the courage, the strength of this mysterious servant of God. In the second reading, St. James challenges Christians. Yes, you profess your faith, but wow, let me see that faith underlying your good works, your acts of love. For faith without acts of love is dead. And acts of love must be motivated by our faith. So there is no artificial, separation between true faith and acts of love. In the Gospel, we are transported to Caesarea Philippi. And in a real sense, this story tells us about the journey of faith. It begins with the first moment. Faith as knowing Jesus. This is important for faith. Do we know Jesus? Do we know Him whom we believe in? Jesus asks His disciples who people say who He is. And they have beautiful answers. Jesus is associated with the prophets. A good reputation about Jesus is spreading among the people. So there is a bit of knowledge about Jesus. He is one of the prophets. Now, Jesus addresses His disciples, the close group of disciples. How about you? After these years of being with you, what do you know of me? Who do you say that I am? Is your knowledge of me the same as the knowledge of the other people? Or have you grown in knowledge of me because of my intimate relationship with you. And Peter declares in the name of the 12, you are the Messiah. Wow. This is the first level of faith, knowing Jesus. And we are happy the disciples, through Peter, have reached a certain level, a deeper level of knowing Jesus. You are not just a prophet. You are the Messiah. You are the one we are awaiting, the anointed of God, very similar to the one spoken of by Isaiah in the first reading. Knowledge of Jesus. But this gives us a second element, which Peter exemplifies. You know Jesus, profess Him, confess Him. And Peter did just that. You are the Messiah. The Jesus that you know, do not keep to yourself. The faith that you have acquired, do not keep in your mind and heart. Have the courage to profess it. But dear brothers and sisters, let us be humble. As we profess our faith, make sure we continue growing in our knowledge of Jesus. Peter's example, Peter's journey, should be a lesson to us. After professing faith in Jesus as the Messiah, Jesus now leads them to a deeper knowledge of who He is as the Messiah. For probably Jesus knew these people have been influenced by the times. Their knowledge or their idea of a Messiah is rather worldly and political. So He tells them, yes, I am a Messiah that will be arrested, a Messiah that will be put to death, a Messiah that will suffer, a Messiah, however, that will be raised to life after 3 days. And when that type of knowledge is added to their knowledge, Peter's confession changed. He rebuked Jesus. God forbid, that should not happen to you. That is not the type of Messiah that you will be, Jesus. And now Jesus rebukes Peter. Get behind me, Satan. You are judging by human standards. Your faith must prevail. Knowledge, confession. But as we confess, we should grow in the spiritual knowledge of Jesus, what we call faith knowledge, so that our knowledge does not remain on the human, worldly level. Knowing Jesus is a matter of faith. Now comes the third. You know Jesus, you profess Jesus, now live your faith in Jesus by being one with Him. Jesus tells the disciples, tells Peter, if you want to be my disciples, then live the way I am living. Deny yourself, take up your cross, follow me. It's not enough to know me, to confess me. Live my life. Walk the path of Calvary. Deny yourself. Believe in God as you carry your cross. Follow me. That's part of your knowledge of me. That's part of your confession of me. Knowledge is not anymore in the head. It becomes communion with Jesus in life. People will know that you believe in me if you walk with me. In a few days, we will be celebrating the feast of our first Filipino canonized saint, martyr, San Lorenzo Ruiz de Manila. who probably knew very little in terms of catechetical knowledge, but he had enough. But when the time came for him to profess his faith in Japan, without mincing words, he said, "I am a Christian. And if I had 1,000 lives, I will offer every bit of it for Jesus." And that was not just a profession in words. He lived it. He died the way Jesus died. Faith professed and lived until death. But that was not the end of life. It was the peak of communion with the one I believe in. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it.